Welcome to Your Game Review. This will be my very first review, and yes, as you can see, it is a Sega CD game. I wanted to do a throwback game. I've wanted to review games for a long time, and I figured I will go with the games that I enjoyed a lot when I was growing up, because Sega CD games, for me, were the first transition I had from cartridge-based games where colorful little sprites were on the screen and now would be turned into live-action video with real people talking to me and telling me what to do, which I actually found to be a lot more cooler than, just reading text and going and following the missions. So, as you see on the screen, Night Trap will be the game that I'm reviewing, and of course, everybody knows, about Night Trap that went through the Sega CD era with all the rating system being brought about because of this game in Mortal Kombat. And if you type in Night Trap in Google, you'll find tons and tons of information on it. It is actually one of the very popular games that came out on the Sega CD. And this game actually came out on multiple platforms. It was on the Sega CD, was the first system, but before that, it was on a system that never came out called Hasbro's Nemo system. And that was actually when it was shot back in 1987 for this VCR based system. I don't know much about the Nemo system myself, but you can find information on it. That's Nemo. If you just type in Google or Wikipedia, has a lot to do, about it though. But the first system I played this on was the Sega CD version, and I had read the reviews at the time in GamePro, but they were terrible reviews. So I kind of was like wondering what kind of game is this. So I rented and played it. And man, I fell in love with this game. And cool little side note about the intro here is that this is actually the only intro which will show the Sega Genesis controller on it, though. And I really think this intro was a lot more serious in the way the actors portrayed their characters than it was in the other, like the 3DO version or the DOS version, because the actors, you can see his demeanor. He looks like he's just tired. I don't want to do this. But in this one, he's actually telling you, hey, you fail, and these girls are screwed. So, basically, this game is designed for you, the player, to access different rooms while the video will continue to play as the game's going. And that kind of gives you an element of speed and having to make decisions on the fly here, because if you don't actually get to certain rooms, you're going to miss what's going on in them, and you'll miss trapping the actual people. Now, here's an example right here. At this part, just specifically,
you're wasting time.
If I don't touch the controller,
get over there now. Looks like you're not up to this mission. Breaking contact.
Oh, I love that. I love when he pulled the cord out of the controller. Man, and if it was only that easy, you know how many friggin' controllers we'd have broke. But that's just a prime example of how if you don't actually do what they're telling you to do, or you don't hurry up and make use of it, what you have available to you real fast, the game will just cut you right off, and you're done right from the start. So I'm actually recording this using the FRAPs audio recorder, and I'm using the Kega Fusion 3.6 emulator. This is the only emulator that allows me to actually use FRAPs in it. See, now, I can actually start the game from right here, which I will do. Now, see, as you can see, I paused the game. This is the, by pressing start. This is the actual menu screen that shows you the different rooms that you can access and kind of the layout of the house. I always wondered what these two rooms were right in here. Because those two rooms look like they could have been something else, but there's nothing there. And there's some parts in here when you'll see in the bathroom where they go into this little side door, and I'm like, what is back there? Like whenever they're in the living room, that you'll see they'll go into behind a bookshelf. I just really wish we could tell what was in the basement and in other areas of the game. Just some unexplored areas. They could have added probably maybe another whole row of rooms down here if they wanted to, but I guess they were kind of just trying to keep it simple at first, and if it worked, maybe a sequel would have been in order. Which there was a sequel, not directly to Night Trap, but the sequel was called Double Switch, and I will be reviewing that one too. But as you can see, 11 seconds has passed by since the opening credits have gone away and the RV drove up. And there's actually action already going on in the house. Now, see, it says 0-0 possible and captured, but once I go here, you'll see I just missed these guys. Oops, I pressed the wrong button there. That actually changes my trap access code. The trap access code will come into play later, and it's actually the only thing in the game that makes the game different each time you play it. So when you play this game, if you've played it 10, 12 times, I just missed another 2, everything will be the same. They will be in the same area, they will come out at the same times, but the one thing that will change is that trap access code will be different every time. I'll finally get somebody here. And you get these little cutscenes whenever you do capture somebody, though, so it is kind of fun and in a way, I guess you could say, compared to if you were playing this back in '92, '93, compared to all the other games that are out nowadays, though, this was actually an interesting concept, and it hasn't been done again since, because it's just too expensive for the designers to actually hire actors, record, get sets, record the actual video. Basically light it as if it was a real movie. Now, here I am talking too much and missing all the stuff that's going on. Now see, right now, I'm not going to get any penalties or anything like that from not capturing all these different augurs, which is what the name of the guys dressed in black suits are. They're vampires, I guess. And this is a cutscene here that you can just sit here and watch this scene while it's happening, and who cares about what's happening in the rest of the house? But the one thing about it is as you can see, the possibles are going up, and as that gets so high, eventually I will end up being pulled from the game by that guy who pulled the controller out. Sims, that's his name. Now, the sad part about these Sega CD games is the quality of video was terrible at the time, and it would be great if they could make games like this again nowadays, because you wouldn't have this problem. Everything would be crystal clear. You'd be able to watch the videos if you were watching a movie, and you'd still be able to play the game and make decisions as you did back then, only with a lot cleaner video and being able to see a lot more details. So this type of game has a little bit of a voyeuristic feel to it, where you're just watching people. Now, the one thing I love about this though is that these cameras are supposedly dedicated cameras, but man, they zoom in really good and they change angles all the time. So for a dedicated camera, I'm kind of fooled by it not being able to do anything. I kind of asked myself, what did the designers, what were they thinking whenever they decided to go with, yeah, I know I'm pulling away from the chicks, but when they wanted to go with using girls trapped in a house, I guess they figured they were trying to appeal to the male audience, considering the fact that you're trying to protect all these beautiful women from this family of murderous vampires, though. That if you didn't play the game by now and you don't know that, they are vampires. The famous Diana Plateau from Different Strokes met an unfortunate death early in her life, and this is one of the vintage things that you can actually watch with her on it. Crazy neighbor guy. See, now, this is the one way you can play the game, is you can sit here and watch as much as you want and miss all the possibles like I'm doing right now. Now, normally when I play it, I don't miss people. I try to capture as many as I can. Sometimes, try to go through with a perfect ending, because you can actually get a perfect playthrough. All you gotta do is mark down where the people are and what rooms they're in, and you'll be able to capture them that way, and then you'll get the perfect ending. Check out the house. Yeah, let's look around. Let's see what's going on in any of these rooms. That's the one thing about it, though, that kind of gets boring, is without actually seeing action, all the rooms are static, and there's nothing happening in them. But the cool thing I do like is how you can follow them from one room to the next. Like, as you saw, they went into the bathroom, and I actually followed them from the hallway into the bathroom. And then I trapped that guy. But I'm looking at the game, and it's at 4 minutes and 33 seconds, so I'm guessing my video is probably getting up there in time. And I guess to basically just sum this up, we'll just pause it real quick. The Sega CD was unique for its time, for what it could do, and the games that came out for it were totally different from... they had the same type of games that were on the Sega Genesis. They were just upgraded versions of them. But the games that came out for the Sega CD that were live action were what I call unique breed, because you just don't see these games anymore. And it kind of was a nostalgic memory that has been stored away for over 15 years now, because you can't even, go to the store and buy a Sega CD and then buy these games and play them. It's just, if you didn't get them then, the only way to get them now is through these emulators and ROMs, and I'm very thankful that we have the opportunity to at least play them. I mean, we're not going to, misuse this content, hopefully for our own personal gain, other than just to have the ability to go back in time and look at things that we weren't able to look at. So, to give it a rundown, this game had graphics that were unique. They weren't, if you were to rate them to the standard of regular games and their graphics, you couldn't really give it a score, because it's not really based on colors and sprites and pixels and things like that. It's more based on just like being able to look at the video. Now, when we look at live DVD video and movie quality video, yes, the game is terrible for that. But if you were able to make it today and put it on a system today, then you would see there's a big difference in the video quality, and that would not be something to even judge by. Like, for example, if you look at the PC version of this game, the DOS version, you'll see that the interface is cleaned up a lot more. The video quality is tremendously better, and it looks a lot more crisp and fun to play in that regard. So that's the big difference, is between what the designers had to work with and how they created the game on that system versus what we have available now. And technology always changes that. I'm sure 20 years from now we'll look back at Grand Theft Auto and think, wow, that game's terrible compared to what we have available. And that's just the way things go. But we'll always remember for what they were and how much we enjoyed them when we were able to play them. This is your game review, and thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed it. Signing off.